Today we are doing the fourth shiur in the second segment, and we're going to be discussing the idea of Melech HaMoshiach. One of the fundamental parts of the emunah in Mashiach is not only to believe that there is a time when there's going to be a change in the world and Geula is going to come, but part of the emunah is also to believe that there's going to be a physical person, a basar v'dam, that's going to bring about this special time. There's actually a machlokes in the Gemara about this, whether there's going to be a person or not. The Hillel says that because of our Avedis, we lost the chance of having a person as Mashiach, and it's going to be just the Eibishter, and the Eibishter is going to bring about this time of Geula. But the Chachamim argue, and the Chachamim say that there's going to be a person who's Melech HaMoshiach, and therefore, because we pass like the Chachamim, the Rambam says that anyone that doesn't believe in the actual person, in the fact that there's a human being, that he's the one to is considered a kafir b'Torah. Just for that detail itself, even if you believe in the time of Mashiach, the time of Geula, but you don't believe in a gashmistic person being the one to bring about that time, is considered a kafir. What's the reason that we need to believe in a person? Why is it so important that part of the emunah is believing in a gashmistic person that's the one to bring Mashiach? So according to Chassidus, it explains that what's the whole idea of Geula? The whole idea of Geula is fulfilling the purpose of creation, which is Dira B'Tachteinim. What is Dira B'Tachteinim in a nutshell? It means to combine Ruchnius and Gashmius together. In other words, we want the highest Gili of Elikus to be able to permeate the lowest part of the world. In order for that to happen, we have to work with the world, and we have to prepare the world. We have to be mezachech the world, elevate the world to the point where the world is a kelim to be able to have this tremendous gilui of atzmus samahuz being the slavish within this world. In order to accomplish such a job, the only one who can do that is someone who himself is in that situation. Meaning, it can be somebody who has the combination of Ruchnis and Gashmi. And therefore, the only one that can accomplish this job is a Yid. Because the Yid has Saya Neshama, which a Neshama is a Chelik Lekam Mimal, which is the highest level of Kedusha that there is. At the same time, this Yid, his Neshama is enclosed within a body and a Nefesh HaBahamis, which represents the Tachtein of the world. And somehow they are combined together and became one Metzias. Therefore, Dafka Yid has the power through his Avodah of Torah Mitzvahs to be able to work with the world, change the world, elevate the world in order for the world to be able to be ready and a Keli for Dira B'Tachteinim. However, by a regular Yid, it's not complete. This idea of Ruchnis and Gashmis coming together, this idea of Dira B'Tachteinim, it's also not fully revealed. And therefore, there's only one person who has this in its completion and fully revealed, and that is Melech HaMoshiach. This is why the whole idea of Geula has to come through Melech HaMoshiach, because Melech HaMoshiach is the person that signifies the idea of Dira B'Tachteinim in himself, mitzad the chibur of his neshama and the guf in the greatest way, where the neshama is fully revealed and fully permeated the guf, and the guf is a full keli for the gili alikus. Therefore, he is the one to bring about the geula. Now, where does Mashiach come from? So, as we all know, Mashiach comes from Shevet Yehuda. Why? Because before Yaakov Avinu passed away, brought down in the Birchas Yaakov, one of the things that Yaakov Avinu promised to Yehuda, to his son Yehuda, is that Lo Yasser Shevet Yehuda. There's always going to be a Nasi in Klal Yisrael throughout all of time coming from Shevet Yehuda. And later on, once David HaMelech, who comes from Shevet Yehuda, became king, the Eibusher promised him that his candle is never going to be burnt out, In other words, there's always going to be someone from his family, and it's coming dafka through Shlomo Melech, that's going to be leading Klal Yisrael throughout all the generations. And this is why the Rambam paskins b'halacha that Mashiach can only be someone who comes from David and Shlomo Melech. And the Sefer HaChinuch actually points out that the same way Aaron HaKohen was chosen for Kahuna, and only someone from his family can become a Kohen, in the same kind of way, David HaMelech was chosen for Melucha. And therefore, Mashiach can only be someone that comes from the family of David HaMelech. Mashiach ancestors. So we know the Mashiach obviously comes from David HaMelech. And David HaMelech himself comes from Boaz and Rus. Boaz comes from Peretz, who's the son of Yehuda and Tamar, from the marriage of Yehuda and Tamar, where they had twins. So Peretz is the great-great-grandfather of Boaz. And Rus comes from Moav. Rus is a Giyodis who came from Moav. And Moav was born from the marriage of Lot and his daughter. But the whole story after the burning of Sdom, from that marriage between Lot and his daughter came Moav, which is the great-great-grandfather of Melech HaMoshiach. Fragt sich the Shaila, why is Mashiach coming from such an interesting yichus? Mashiach is coming from Moav, a goy, and Ishtam a goy, an inappropriate marriage between Lot and his daughter. How is Mashiach coming from such a man with the matzah? Mashiach should have had a very special yichus of coming only from the greatest tzaddikim. How is it that Mashiach has such a ancestry that l'chayda has a lot of different blemishes to it? So there's two biyurim. One beer is because Mashiach is something that's going to change the entire world and change the klipa of the whole world and totally get rid of all the bad, the Satan will never allow Mashiach to come into the world. And Satan is going to fight every which way for Mashiach not to come in. So therefore, the Eibishter, so to speak, had to trick the Satan. And the Eibishter had to bring Mashiach into the world through Klippa itself. So this way, Klippa won't bother Mashiach, because Klippa will think, oh, Mashiach is really part of us and part of where we are from. They're not going to feel threatened by it, and Mashiach will be able to come into the world that way. A deeper beer for this is that the whole idea of Mashiach is to change the Choshech into Oir. And when Choshech comes from Oir, the other way around. When Oir comes from Choshech, the Oir is a much higher level of Oir. As we know, it's explained in Tanya, many places in Chassidus, Yisrein ha'Oir abba mitech ha'Choshech. And therefore, the greatness of Mashiach is dafke, that Mashiach came, so to speak, from a situation of Klippa and turned that into Kedusha and became the Melech over Klal Yisrael and the one that brings the Geula into the world. In addition to believing that Mashiach is going to be a person, we also know that Mashiach actually exists in every single generation. In every single time, from Churban Bayis until now, every single generation has a person who he is the one ready to be Mashiach. And when it comes the time for Mashiach to come, the Eibush will come to that person that's the one ready in his time and tell him, it's time to bring the Geula, get up and go bring the Geula to Klal Yisrael. The Rebbe usually references to three Mekayres in many of the Sikhs to this idea. One comes from the Chassam Sofer, another from the Sdei Chemed, and the third is from the Bartanuda. But between all these three, the Rebbe quotes usually these three Mekayres, this idea that in every single generation there's someone ready to be Mashiach. Therefore, throughout all of time, Yidden pointed out and tried to identify who is this person in their time that's supposed to be Mashiach. As we find in the Gemara, that Talmidim of all different Tanoim and Amoraim would point out to their Rebbe as being Mashiach, and they would also try to learn how the name of their Rebbe is really the name of Mashiach based on different psukim. As we have the examples of Sanhedrin, is from Rabbi Yanai, Rabbi Chanina, Menachem ben Chizkiah, then about Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. In every single time period in the Gemara, there was someone who the Chachamim of the time pointed out and identified as him being the Mashiach of their time. And this Dei Chemed actually says that this wasn't only in the times of the Gemara, but it was throughout all of history later on also. People would always try to figure out where can we find, how do we identify who is this person that's supposed to be Mashiach of their time. And that Dei Chemed says that this idea was a davar pashut in all generations. And we find the same thing also by our Rebbe. Our Rebbe always openly and clearly identified the Frierdiker Rebbe as being Mashiach. And the Rebbe learned the name of the Frierdiker Rebbe, taught how the name of the Frierdiker Rebbe is really the name of Mashiach. Because the name Yosef Yitzchak comes from two different psukim that speak about Geula. The name Yosef comes from the pasuk, Yosef Adonai Shenis Yad, the game that the Eibishter is going to take the Yidden and gather them from all corners of the world and bring them to the Geula. And the pasuk in the name Yitzchak comes from Miloshen Schaik of laughter, which when they get to the Geula, it says, Oz Yimali Schaik Pino, in the time of the Geula will have complete ultimate simcha because the Geula is here. And therefore those two names are connected to Mashiach. And obviously us as Chassidim, as the Rebbe says, V'anan Chassidim Nana Basrayu, we learn about our Rebbe. And therefore we learn that the name of our Rebbe is the name of Mashiach. Menachem Shmai, and the Rebbe himself taught that many times. Menachem Shmai, that Mashiach's name is Menachem, coming from the pasuk Menachem Meishiv Nafshi, that the name of Mashiach is the name Menachem. There's actually a story in the Gemara of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, where Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi once met Eliyahu Hanavi and asked him, where can he see Mashiach? So Eliyahu Hanavi, he asked him, when is Mashiach coming? So Eliyahu Hanavi asked him, go ask Mashiach himself. So he said, where can I find Mashiach? And described to him, you go to the Pesach of Reimi, and over there you'll find a bunch of poor people that are sick, and you'll find one person out of all the sick people that are sitting around that changes his bandages different than all the other poor people. All the regular poor people and the sick people, they take off all the bandages in one shot and put new ones all at once. You'll find one person that takes off one bandage at a time, puts a new one, another bandage, and puts a second one. And I've explained the reason for him doing it is in order, because if in case Mashiach, he has to bring the Geula right now, but he's in the middle with a bunch of bandages, busy, so he doesn't even want to wait one extra second to fix his bandages to bring the Geula, so he does just one bandage at a time. In case in the middle of two bandages, the Eibishter will tell him, bring the Geula. So that means he goes to find him, he finds this person, asks him, when are you coming? He told him he's going to come Hayayim today. The day passed by and Mashiach didn't come. So Yeshua ben Levi came to Taina to Eliyahu Hanavi and said, why didn't he come? Mashiach told me he's coming today, and the day passed. So Eliyahu Hanavi told him, because Hayayim is only, there's a hemshich to that pasuk of the word Hayayim. It's a pasuk we say in L'chunah Ranana, Hayayim in B'keilah Tishmo. Mashiach is going to come today, but only if you're going to listen to him. And the Rebbe has a whole beer of why Mashiach only told him the word Hayayim and not in B'keilah Tishmo, which basically is trying to show to him that I can actually come today, and you have to believe that Mashiach is coming today no matter what. If he didn't come, I have an excuse of in B'keilah Tishmo. But my way of thinking is that Mashiach is actually coming today. But from this whole story, we learn very clearly that Mashiach actually exists with us, alive, in Golus. And he's suffering the sufferings of Golus together with us, as we see from this story. Why is it so important that Mashiach has to exist with us in Golus? Why do we need Mashiach to be here with us? So there's two biyurim. Bepashtus is for a very practical reason. We believe that Mashiach has to come any second. So if Mashiach has to come right now in this second, he has to be ready to bring the Geula. If we have to try now finding who this person is and bring him back alive from a different generation or bring his neshama down into the world, it can't happen in a snap. So in order for Mashiach to come right now, this second, in Keheref Ayin, he already has to be existing in Golus. alive today, ready to bring the Geula. The Pnimius Inyanim is, a deeper answer is, because part of Mashiach is fixing the Golus. And not just fixing the Golus, but revealing within the Golus itself, that Golus itself is really part of Geula. Golus itself, hidden inside the darkness, there's really the light of Kedusha, the light of the Eibishter. There's really the light of the Geula. And therefore, Mashiach himself is going to come out of Golus. Mashiach is not going to come from outside of Golus, showing up in the time of the Geula. Mashiach is going to be from within Golus itself, and from within the Golus is going to sprout out Mashiach to bring the Geula, to show on this concept. Now, obviously, when we want to identify and see who is Mashiach in our time, the Rebbe says that the most appropriate person to look to is to who is the Nasi Adair of the time. Whoever the Nasi Adair of that time is, that's the one who's supposed to be Mashiach. Why? So Al Pi Nigla, it's based on the fact that Yaakov Avinu promised Yehuda that La Yosser Shevet Mi Yehuda. There's never going to be a time when there is not going to be a Nasi from Yehuda, which means even in Golus, the Nasiim throughout the generation are going to come from Shevet Yehuda. And therefore, when Mashiach has to come and we have to choose someone for Shevet Yehuda, it's only obvious that the person who's already in the position of Nasi should become Mashiach. And therefore, the Nasi Adei is going to be the one chosen to be the leader of Klal Yisrael by the next stage and make the Geula happen. Al Pi Chassidus, this is a deeper inyan, which is the Nasi Adei has a Neshama Klalis. A Neshama Klalis means that he has one Neshama that includes within himself the Neshamas of all of the Klal Yisrael that exists in his time. He has one general Neshama that includes everybody in him. Mashiach is the same idea. Mashiach is also a Neshama Klalis. Mashiach is the one that includes all of Klal Yisrael in him. As we know when we say the pasuk, V'nacha alav ruach Hashem, which there's two biurim in the pasuk. V'nacha alav ruach Hashem refers to Mashiach, and it also can refer to every individual yid. How could the same pasuk refer to Mashiach and every individual yid? Because all of our neshamas are connected. We are all only one piece of the big neshama of Mashiach. And therefore, being that the Nasi Adair has the neshama klalis, the Nasi Adair has this neshama that's supposed to be the neshama of Mashiach, it's obvious that when it comes the time for the Geula to happen, the person who has that neshama, who is the Nasi Adair, he's going to be the one that's going to be Mashiach. And in that way, we can very easily identify who is the Mashiach of our time, which obviously in our time, the Nasi Adair is our Rebbe.